Hello, welcome to exchange rate. So, before we get started, everything that you'll be seeing that I'll be doing here under exchange rate. And by the way, we are going to have two lessons. The first one is for basics, and the second one is exam type questions. Don't start with this lesson unless you have watched conversion factor, because everything that we'll be doing here, honestly speaking, it's about the conversion factor. So before you start watching this lesson, go and watch that lesson, conversion factor. And then when you come here, you will see it will be like taking a candy from the child. Anyways, I never understood that saying, but let's get started. So we have something called exchange rate. Now, exchange rate in simple, it's the value of one currency. The value of one currency in terms of another currency. Someone might say that exchange rate is the value of one currency relative to another currency. So the value of one currency relative to another currency, or the value of one currency in terms of another currency. Now, why do we have something called exchange rate? Well, it's simple. So let's make this simple example. So let's say that you are in South Africa, you have 1,000 rands, and you would like to travel to the United States of America. Now, what you would want to know is that if I am in South Africa and I have 1,000 rands, if I get to the United States of America, how much would I have? Now, in order for us to answer this question, we would need something called the exchange rate. So I'm going to have a few questions, as you can see. So let's say this is going to be question number 1, this 2, and then this 3. And I want you to understand a few things here. So the first question says, using the given exchange rate. So we are going to use 3 of them. They all mean the same thing, but I just want to show you how they work. Hence, I'm saying you should go and watch that video about conversion factors so you can understand, because these are conversion factors. All of them, these are conversion factors. So using the given exchange rate, convert $50 to South African rands. So you have to convert $50 to South African rands. So we'll use all of them. I have mentioned in that particular video that $1 is equals to 15 South African rands, and 15 South African rands is equals to $1. It's the same thing. As long as there is an equal sign, that means that whatever you are dealing with can be interchanged. You can take this one to the left and you can take this one to the right. It is the same thing. That's why there is an equal sign. So let's continue. Now, using the given exchange rate, convert $50 to the South African rands. Where do we start? How do we start? If you watched that video, by now you will know. We start with the conversion factor. So we are going to rewrite this, but let's keep it simple. So we are going to say that $1 is equals to 15 rands. What this particularly says is that if you are in the United States of America, you have $1. If you were to come to South Africa, you would be able to exchange that $1 and get 15 South African rands. The same thing, if you're in South Africa, you have 15 rands, you would go to the United States and you would be able to exchange that 15 rands for $1. Hence, I made this example right here. After putting down the exchange rate, so let's put down the exchange rate for all of them. Even here, it's the same thing. We are still going to say that 15 ZAR, which is 15 rands, is equals to $1. This one is a bit different. We'll get to that one. So 15 US dollars, we have to put it under the US dollars. Where is the US dollars, on your left or on your right? Well, it's on your left. It's here. So we are going to come here and say 50 US dollars. Here, we do not have the South African rands. That's what we are trying to find out. So we're going to put an X. Now we come here again. Where our dollars? Are they on the left or on the right? Well, they are on the right. So let's go to the right and say $50 US. Do we have the rands? No, we don't. That's what we are looking for. Therefore, we put an X. And don't be like, oh, I ran away from solving an X from grade. No, we are not. That's not what we are doing here. Don't run away. You can put any other variable there. It's fine. It would work. You can put a question mark. It's fine. It's still going to work. It's just that we are putting a variable to show that we do not have that value. It's what we are trying to solve. If you first have to cancel a 1 and cancel an X, even this side, cancel X, cancel 1. If the values that you have, they are sitting across, such as these ones, you can see that they are sitting across each other. That means you have to multiply. So it would have to be 50 multiplied by 15. Even this side, after cancelling 1 and an X, you can tell that they are sitting across. Therefore, you would have to multiply. Why am I saying that? Because if they were sitting on the same side, you would have to divide. And by now, you have to know that because you have watched the conversion factor video. So let's get the answers for this. Let's reset our calculator. Now that it's ready, let's say, what do you get when you multiply 50 by 15? It says you get 750. 750 what? 750 South African rands. It's going to be the same even for here. The reason why I was doing this, I wanted to show you that it does not matter which one is on which side, whether US dollars is on the left side or US dollars is on the right side. If it's the same exchange rate, then the same method applies. Now let's get to this one because it looks a bit different. Now here you have 2 US dollars is equals to 30 South African rands. Again, the first thing or the first step, rewrite the conversion factor, which with this regards, it's going to be 2 US dollars. Okay, didn't have to write that. So let's get it out of the way. So 2 US dollars is equals to 30 South African rands. Again, still using this. Where is our dollars? Left or right? Well, they're on the left. Therefore, let's come to the left and say 50. And then here on the right, we do not have. Let's put an X. We have to cancel an X and a 1. But here in this case, we do not have a 1. We only have an X. So let's just cancel that X. If numbers or if values are on the same side, what do we do to them? By now, you know we divide. But how do we divide them? We divide what is at the bottom by what is at the top. So it's not 2 divided by 50. No, it's 50 divided by 2. I was explicit in mentioning the fact that it does not matter if the value that is seated at the bottom is small or it's big. You just use the laws. You divide by what is at the bottom. It has to be divided by what is at the top. And then because this one is sitting across, so you can tell that these ones were on the same side, but we have a value that is seated across. What do we do to it? We multiply. Why? Because we are using this same method. When numbers are sitting across, you multiply. When numbers are sitting on the same side, you divide them. It still could have been the same thing even if you had said that 50 multiplied by 30 divided by 2. And we are going to prove that. So let's start here. This is just, we are doing it in one step to make things simple and easy. So we are saying that 50 when you divide by a 2, and then you multiply by a 30. You see, you get 750 South African rands. What I'm telling you is that you could still have done the same thing in this regard. You could have multiplied what is across, and what is across, it's a 50 multiplied by 30. So you could have said 50 multiplied by 30. You are going to get a 1,500, and then you could have divided by a 2, and then you could have divided by a 2. See, still get the same answer. You can just use this one formula. You divide what is on the same side, you multiply by what is across. Also, everything, like I'm saying, everything in a perfect world, I would not have to be doing this video. I would just have to be doing exchange rate exam type questions, because I have covered everything here in that particular video. But because it's you, I mean, you know yourself. I mean, you know yourself. You know yourself. Let's do this one, number 2. So let's go to number 2. Let's use a different color for number 2. So quickly, using the given exchange rate, convert. So we are supposed to convert 100 South African rands to US dollars. Again, you start with the exchange rate. So let's say US dollars 1 is equals to 15 ZAR. Now I'm no longer gonna use this option. This option was just there for you to show you that whether US dollars are on the left or US dollars are on the right, as long as the numbers are the same, therefore it's still the same exchange rate. You still have to apply the same laws. So we are not going to use this one, but we are definitely going to still use the third one, because this one is different. So 15 South African rands. Again, same question. Where are our South African rands? Left or right? Well, they're on the right. Therefore, let's put them there. Do we have US dollars? No, we don't have them. What do we cancel? X and a 1. If the numbers are on the same side, what do we do to them? We divide them. How do we divide them? What is at the bottom by what is at the top? So we are supposed to say 100 divided by 15. Let's come here and say 100 divided by 15. Let's see what we get. We actually get, let's round it off to 2 decimal places. So it will be 6.67 US dollars. Now, let's come to this one. This one also, we are going to say that when you have $2 in America, you can exchange them for 30 South African rands. Again, where is our rands? Left or right? Well, they're on the right. Therefore, let's put them there. Do we have the dollar? No, that's what we are looking for. Cancel X, there is no 1, so there's nothing else to cancel. If they are sitting on the same side, such as this one, what do you do to them? You divide them. If you also have a number across, what do you do to it? You multiply. So it's going to be, remember, 100. It's not 30 divided by 100. No, it's 100. What is at the bottom? We divide by what is at the top. So it's 100 divided by 30 multiplied by 2. Let's see what we get. So we come here, we say 100 when you divide it by 30, and therefore you multiply it by a 2. What do you get? You still get 6 point, rounded off to 2 decimal places. And then the last one. So the last one, it's a bit different. We are going to use a blue, as you can tell. And let's try and acquire this real estate here. Determine the exchange rate of the South African rand in terms of the US dollars in the form 1 is to something. So what they are actually trying to tell you here, or what they're asking you to do, is that you have this exchange rate here. Now, if you're looking at it, it's saying that 15 South African rands, it's equals to 1 US dollars. So they don't want it like that. They want it to be in this way. 1 South African rand is equals to something US dollars. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. If we have an exchange rate, it's fine. We can even use the first one that we had there. Okay, when we can use this one. If you have an exchange rate that says 15 South African rands is equals to 1 US dollars, how do we change it so that we have this one has to be on the other side? Like it's now 1 South African rands is equals to something US dollars in this form. Well, it's simple. You take 1, you divide by the number that you have on the other side. So you take 1, always, and you will see as we go down, you are simply going to say 1, you divide by whatever is on the other side, which in this case it's 15. So if on this other side, maybe you had 0 point something, you still divide by it. So it's 1 divided by whatever is on the other side. 1 divided by whatever is on the other side. Always keep that in mind. Take 1, you divide by whatever is on the other side. You take 1, you divide by whatever is on the other side. And let's see. So when you say 1 and you divide it by 15, what do you get? So you actually get 0.0666. It's rounded off to 1 decimal place. What does this mean to it's not one decimal place. What am I saying? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 decimal places. So what does this mean? This means that you can now rewrite your same exchange rate in this format. You can say that 1 South African rand is equals to 0.06666667 US dollars. That's how you change it to be in this form. If you are a bit confused, don't worry. I am here for you. Hence, you are here for me, right? I guess. Anyway, let's go down. It will be self-explanatory as we continue with the questions. And most importantly, on the exam type, it will even be, it will be there. Now you have this table. This table is, I don't want to say it's a bit tricky, but it needs you to pay attention, because if you do not pay attention, you are going to make mistakes. Look at this table. Pay attention to this table. It has currencies on the left, and then in the middle, it has something written units per ZAR. It has numbers on the right, ZAR per unit. What could this be talking about? Now, let me demystify this. These are two exchange rates that mean the same thing. See this exchange rate here and this exchange rate here. They both mean the same thing, but in different formats, in terms of which one is in terms of another one, or which one is in terms of the other one. Remember what we did, the last question that we did up there? Now, look at this. Whenever you come through looking at such a table, this is the first thing I would like you to do. Go and cancel currency. Why? Because in terms of currency, or in the space of currency, or instead of currency, I want you to write units or unit. Okay? Okay. Now you're asking yourself, okay? What? Wait for it. Bear with me. Now, after you have cancelled currency and written units or unit, now this is also what I want you to do. Whenever they say units per ZAR, if you go to a store and when you get to that particular store, apparently you are interested in buying a bag of tomatoes. This is something that would be written on that particular bag of tomatoes. Some you might sometimes have something like 10 rand per kg. What this simply means is that 10 rand can allow you to purchase 1 kg of a bag of tomatoes. That's what they are saying. 10 rand per kg, or sometimes 10 rand per pack. Sometimes it's different. 10 rand per liter. It's different. But what does that mean? That simply means that we can substitute a pair for equal. We can substitute a pair for equal. And whatever comes after a pair, it's also a word. It is always a word. What comes after a pair with regards to this has to be a word. So what does this mean? It means that go to your right of all these numbers. Just say equal to 1, 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 equal to 1. But now we want to know equal to 1 what? Well, they told us that per ZAR, the same way they told us that per kg. So it is equals to per 1 South African rand, per 1 South African rand, per 1 South African rand. This one, it's no longer per ZAR, so it's per unit. What unit is this? Oh, remember what we did here? Yes, I know you remember. These are the units or the unit. Therefore, when they say per unit, they are saying per euro. Per unit, they are saying per British pound. Per unit, they are saying per Japanese yen. So come here, you say per euro. Yes, I guess this is the symbol for euro. Per British pound, it's something like a fancy E. Yes, per Japanese yen, it's also something like a fancy Y. Very fancy, these symbols. That's what it means. So now, what is this? This simply says that 0.06068 euro is equals to 1 South African rand. On the other side, they have changed the form. You see, you no longer have one South African rand, but now you have 1 euro. It's 16.480 South African rand is equals to 1 euro. The same thing with this side. The same thing with this side. The same thing with this side. And if you are still saying, it's a bit confusing, don't worry. Next lesson, you will even get even much more understanding. But let me repeat. When you get a table like this, the first thing you have to do, go and cancel currency and write units or unit. I said, you go to your store, you get a bag of tomatoes that is written something like this, 10 rand per kg. What could that be all about? Well, we have demystified that by saying that it's simply telling you that for 10 rand, you can actually get 1 kg of that particular bag of tomatoes. So it's simply saying that per can be substituted for equal. Therefore, anything that comes after a per, it's a 1. So what we have done here, we have said per, yes, put equal. What comes after a per, it's a what? It's a 1. We put 1, 1, 1. Equal 1, 1, 1. And then now, because they told us that pairs are the same way here, they told you per kg, you said it is equals to 1 kg. That means if here they say per ZAR, you're supposed to say per equals to 1 ZAR, 1 ZAR, 1 ZAR. Here, per unit. Per unit. What is the unit? It's the euro. It's the British. It's the Japanese. So, per euro. 1 euro, 1 British pound, 1 Japanese yen. That's how it works. And then now it becomes easy to solve all this. How does it become easy? It becomes easy because when they say that, identify the currency. And remember, I told you, this currency over here means exactly the same thing as this currency over here. And you will see when you do calculations that, yes, I was right by saying they mean exactly the same. Identify the currency which is the weakest against the rand. So, if you want to identify the currency which is weakest against the rand, this is what you are supposed to do. Let's start with currency number 1, which is the euro. Currency number 1, which is the euro, simply says that for 0. Okay, let me put euro here. Because they started with units. So since they started with units, it's also this one. So 0.06068 euros, it is equals to 1 South African rand. Let's go to currency number 2, which says that it's a British pound. 0.05086 pound is equals to 1 ZAR. Let's go to the last one. You see, we are using, you don't have to use both sides because I told you they all mean the same thing. You are very much allowed to just use one side. This side will get you the same answers as this side. So again, we are still this side. So here they are saying that Japanese yen. So here they are saying that 7.9596 Japanese yen is equals to 1 South African rand. Let's try and look at this. If I need 1 rand to purchase 0.06, that simply means that rands are weaker than euros. Again, if I need 1 rand to purchase 0.05, it's telling me that rands are still weaker than this. But if I need 1 rand to purchase 7 of Japanese yen, it tells me that actually rands are stronger than Japanese yen. So here, identify the currency which is the weakest against the rand. This is stronger against the rand. This is stronger against the rand. So whenever you have a currency, you must put this in mind. Look at those currencies and try and do this. Between the euro and the rand, which one is stronger? Well, the euro is stronger, weaker. Between the pound and the rand, which one is strong? Well, this one is stronger, this one is weaker. And what are we using? What standard are we using? We are using this standard. If you need 1 to purchase 0.0 something, it simply tells you that you need more to purchase less. Therefore, if you need more for less, that simply tells you that the more that you are needing, it's because it's weak. Therefore, you need more of it. But the less, that means it's stronger. And then when we come here, this one is weak. Why? Because you need 7 of these to just get 1 of the other one. So this one is stronger. So in this regard, the currency which is weakest against the South African rand, you can already tell it's the Japanese yen. So it's the Japanese yen is the one which is weakest against the rand. That's how you solve that. Show how the Japanese yen of 0.12565 South African rands per unit was calculated. They also told us ZAR per unit. So they told us where to focus. ZAR per unit is this side. Hence, you can tell it's 0.1256. Okay, there is no 5 here. So that means I suppose there was supposed to be a 5 here, or somewhere here in this question I might have made a mistake drafting this question. So it's fine. We can cancel this 5 because it says 0.1256. 0.1256. How was it calculated? Like I told you, look on the other side. This side, it says that if you have 7.9596 Japanese yen, you can get yourself a 1 South African rand. How did I say we change it to be in a form of 1 is to the other? This side, 1 is on the ZAR. But if you want to put 1 on the other, what did I say you do? I always say you take a 1, you divide it by whatever is on the other side, and that is 7.9596. It should get us this. Cannot exactly because they've rounded it off, but it's what we are going to get. 7.9596. See, told you. They're going to get a 0.1256 and then other digits which they have rounded them off. It's the same. So that's how they calculated this. The same way, if maybe they gave you this, and they ask you, how did they calculate this? Just start by writing. So just simply say that we are given that for 0.1, okay, let me scratch this. Let me put it exactly how it is. So for 0.1256 South African rands, yes, it's South African rands. It's the number that started here. Remember, the number that starts, it's what you are seeing here. That's why here it's units, because it's the number that starts. You can actually get yourself 1 Japanese yen. How did they calculate this 7? 1 divide by whatever is on the other side. 1 divide by whatever is on the other side. 0.1256. As much as it was rounded off, but it should look similar. You see, it looks similar. It's a 7.9617. That's what I'm saying. And that is how you are supposed to calculate it. So this one was a 7.9596. This one is a 796. That means it was rounded off. So if you were to say 7.96, even this one, if you were to round it to 2 decimal places, you would get 7.96. That's how it works. Now let's go to show how the British pound of, by now you understand what we're supposed to do, of 0.05086 units per ZAR was calculated. So per ZAR. So we are no longer here. This is per unit. Per ZAR, it's here. So the British pound they are talking about, it's this one. Again, to get this, we have to go on the other side. What does the other side say? The other side says that if you have 19.662 South African rands, you are eligible to get just 1 British pound. So how did they end up having this 0.050? Well, just take 1. And by whatever is on the other side, make sure that you divide. You will get how they got there. 1 divided by whatever is on the other side, which is 19.662. You see, you get obviously rounded off. I mean, just think about trying to write all these numbers. We don't have such real estate. 59, but if you round it off, yes, you are going to get 0.5086. So this is exactly this. That's how they did that. So that's how you change in that form to the other form, from that form to that form, and how to get this. If they gave you this, how do you get this? If they gave you this, how you get this? That's how it works. And now let's try to convert. Let's try and put all these things that we're doing here. How do we actually use them in conversion? How do we actually convert from rands to British pounds, or from British pounds to rands? Well, let's do this. They are saying that we are supposed to convert, like I was trying to underline. What's happening to my arrow? It looks like I am struggling. Anyway, convert 150,000 to British pounds. What did I say we do? You start with the conversion factor. We are going to use these conversion factors so that you can see how they work, so that you can see why I did what I did here. I know now it looks messy, but it will not look messy at all for some time. It will look Ronaldo. Just pay attention. Now, 0, we are at British pound. So we know that British pound, it's 0.05086 is equals to 1 South African rands. But on the other side, what I said, it means the same thing, and you will see it here. On the other side, we have 19.662 South African rands is equals to 1 British pound. Where do we have our rands, left or right? Well, here we have them on the right. So we are going to say 150 South African rands, X here. You know that by now. Here we have them on the left. So we are going to say that 150 South African rands, X on the other side. What do we cancel? An X and a 1. When they're on the same side, what do we do to them? We divide them. How do we divide them? This one by this one. So it's going to be 150 divided by 19.662. Again, this side, cancel X and the 1. They are seated across. What do we do? Let's get some real estate. Oh, there isn't. We are just going to use this one here. So we are supposed to say 0.05086 multiplied by 150,000. When we round these numbers off, we should fairly get the same value. So 0.05086, when you multiply it by 150,000, what do you get? So you round it off to the whole number. This is what you get. You get 7,629 pounds. Let's come to this one. It says 150,000. When you divide it by 19.662, what do you get? See? It's 7,628.9288. Round it off to the whole number. You're going to get 7,629 pounds. The same. That's how they work. Let's repeat it here for the last time. By now, it should be cemented in your brain. Convert. Now we are converting 1,000 euros to rands. Let's get those two exchange rates that have to do with rands and euros. What are they saying? The first one is saying 0.06068. 0.06, and then there's another 0.68, and then 0.68. Okay, euros is equals to 1 South African rand. That's the first one. On the other side, what does it say? It says 16.480. It says that 16.480 South African rands is equals to 1 euro. Where is our euros? Left or right? Well, this side, they are on the right. We don't have X. This one, they are on. Oh, this one, they are on the left. This one, they are on the right. So we say 1,000 X. What do we cancel? X and a 1. When they're seated across, we multiply them. So it's going to be 16,480 multiplied by 1,000. And then this side, cancel X and where's the 1? They are on the same side. You divide which one by which one? Bottom by top. 0.668. So let's come to our calculator and just say 1,000. When you divide it by 0.06068, you actually get 16,479.89. Let's round it off to the whole number. It's going to be 16,407. Okay, and 80 South African rands. Let's come to this one. So this one, when you say 16.480 multiplied by 1,000, it's the same. And if you do it and it does not come out the same, it's not because they are wrong. No, it's like how you saw. Did you see those digits? I think when we're trying to convert this one, you can't put all of them there. So they round it off. Immediately you round it off, you're going to have slight variation. Not big variation, slight variation. So that's exchange rate for you. Now stay tuned for the next one, exam type questions. And yeah, let's try to apply these basic steps and see that where exactly we can get. So thank you. Keep well.